welcome to Phoenix Flight Manual. I'm Kesi Afiya. I'm going to be doing a little video for the COVID-19. So the pandemic. My goodness. Who saw that coming? Huh? Maybe a psychic? Just kidding. I did not see COVID-19 coming, and I was just speaking on a friend's program about how I was like the last to know, because I was actually kind of deep in some work that I was doing, deep indeed. So as I learned about the hysteria that had developed around me, unbeknownst to me, I kind of took the time to kind of put my feelers out of like, okay, this is kind of a big deal. Not necessarily in the ways that it's being reacted to, I want to say, like emphasis on reaction, not response, but it's a big deal in the sense that it is affecting the entire globe all at one time, and there's not a lot of events or incidences that affect the entire globe at the same time. If you think about it, even seasons, even something so, all-encompassing as seasons, so widespread as seasons, like half the world's in one season and the other half of the globe is in a different season at any given time. So like there's really not a lot of experiences that kind of include us all, and especially not at the same time. So in that sense alone, this is a huge deal. And what does that mean for us spiritually? So this is kind of like my jam. Unpackaging like what's all the hidden meaning, what can be gained by kind of like taking a different approach to thinking about things and a different perspective, purely for the sake of expanding one's own mind, consciousness, however you want to look at it. But the number one thing that came through for me when I was kind of just, opening myself up to receive any guidance that was coming through about what is the bigger purpose of such an event, and this particular one. So what came through for me was the self-reflection. So most people are like, just due to the social distancing, are experiencing a much greater sense of solitude than probably ever, unless you're the kind of person who seeks that out. Then you're no stranger to it. But certainly for people who are not used to that, especially if they have the kind of lifestyle where it's kind of built in too, where they're not even having to really put much effort into making plans, because it's just kind of it's an always happening kind of thing. So you're always in a social mode one way or another. Even at work, that's still a social interaction, because you are, interacting with other human beings, if that's what your work is. But yeah, so a collective deep dive, a collective solitude, a collective self-reflection. Has such a thing ever happened before? I don't know. I find that very, very exciting to think about. I don't even know maybe there's a very experienced historian out there who could tell us, the last time this kind of thing happened, if ever. Because the other thing is we have the internet now. So we all get to be that much more aware of what's happening well outside of our immediate space. So not just, outside of our city, but like on the other side of the globe. So that is a unifying experience in and of itself. Having that level of connection and awareness, while it might not be person to person, like face to face, it is very direct and it is real time and it is totally open to whatever you want to share. So we have the greatest level of connection we've ever had in human history. We've been given this opportunity, if you care to look at it that way for a minute with me, to really go inwards all together at the same time. This is like kind of a miracle if you think about it. Before we were put into the social distancing restrictions, before the talk of COVID-19 really was coming up in conversation, who could imagine, going into the grocery stores and they're just bare. I had one friend tell me that he tried to go to Costco, and this was pretty early on, because we had planned to go away for a trip, and he said that they were lined up like around the block for Costco. And I was like, anyone would think it was the zombie apocalypse. And yes, the virus itself is actually very unpleasant. I was reading about that earlier today, and it was pretty nasty. So I'm actually doing a Sunday sessions video tomorrow, and it's all kind of geared towards the uplifting, the positive, and I'm going to include on there, I've received like a really great, thorough, detailed instructions on best practices. So I'm going to include that in tomorrow's video and Sunday's video, just to send people off with that. Yes, be happy, but also be safe. So yeah, global introspection. What a gift. My mind could wander for days just imagining all the different ways that this could be shifting our literal reality, like not even in a figurative sense. First of all, the economy has been impacted in a massive way. The global economy, the US economy, and that old saying, money makes the world go round, kind of, comes to mind. So obviously we haven't been brought to a screeching halt, but certainly it is not business as usual. A lot is suspended right now. And I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see where the chips fall after this, because I have a feeling, mark it down, call me out if I'm wrong, but I have a feeling that our cultural relationship to money is going to make a huge, huge shift after this. Maybe not so obviously in the first weeks of things kind of going back to normal, but I would say definitely within this year and the next few years that we're going to see a huge shift culturally in our relationship to money. one of the things that's been coming through for me too is that the other opportunity that we've been given here is to step out of that hamster wheel. I cannot tell you how many times I've ranted about this, but even in the last several days, this idea has just been coming up and up and up of how easily oppressed we are when we are basically giving the most of our time, our waking hours, to our job, to our income job. So giving that much of yourself to your own personal passion that you made into a business is one thing, but when it's that income that you're dependent upon, when there's a level of dependency and that relationship, that choice that you've made to take that position with that company, if it is based off of dependency and purely financial reasons, then that, I think, becomes very, very clear in a very different way when something like this happens. Because if the key factor for you committing yourself and investing yourself so deeply into something is because of that level of security, that concept of security, I cannot tell you how many times, I've thrown that out there in that argument against choosing into things purely for security. Security is an illusion. And I would always use the reference of like the huge stock market crash, like back in the day, like people are, killing themselves and everything, the Wall Street people and all of that. And I'm pretty sure they felt very secure. They had a lot of money. I think they felt very secure, and they didn't see that coming. It's an illusion. You might have a gorgeous home that could burn down in a wildfire. Nothing is permanent. So I think it really has brought our values into question, which is also something I've been just like cheerleading on so much lately. I've been really stuck on sometimes, so I kind of have like the mind of a philosopher, so I just like to Rubik's Cube ideas and concepts and beliefs, and when you're kind of playing around with different ideas and stuff like that, you can get kind of really stuck on some and keep going round and round and round. So this is kind of probably abnormally exciting for me to think about all these different things, but yeah, totally got off track, so I'm trying to like figure out where I was. I got too excited, actually. So I'll probably just keep going. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Oh. Okay, so one of these concepts or ideas that I've been playing around with has been values versus ideals. So this has been really like interesting space for me to kind of play around in and see where are the boundaries on those two things and what is our concept of those two things as individuals and as a society. So something that I have observed, or as it appears to me, is that we have a huge discrepancy between our ideals as a society and our values as as a society. And so I feel like this has also offered us an opportunity, the pandemic, the social distancing, the enforced solitude, to really take stock of our values as a society. This kind of disruption, it's kind of hard to do. This is a natural occurring event, but if you wanted to just make the whole world kind of stop and have enforced like introspection, like good luck with that. So it's, you know, no coincidence that we're kind of at this pivotal place in our evolution where, I mean, there's a lot of interesting kind of factors playing into it, but we're definitely at a turning point. There's a lot of unsustainable, harmful practices and aspects to our system that have gone on far too long. We're fully aware now that they're so harmful. Definitely things like, you know, fossil fuels and pollution and things like that, but on a much like all-encompassing scale, even to education and our approach to that, like letting go of archaic ideas that were actually intentionally designed for a very different kind of world than we're living in today. We're really at a point, I believe, where we need to update everything, our approach to everything. I was going to say politics, but like the political system itself. When was this designed? Yes, it's been updated, tweaked a little here and there, but it wasn't designed for the nation that US is today, for the times that we're in now. Our approach to parenting, educating children, I mean, these are very archaic concepts, methods. We have so much more information. I'm also an artist, and I, you know, remember not long ago having a talk with some friends of mine who are also artists and kind of reflecting on different periods in history where art was, you know, it kind of has its own little roller coaster ride where it's at different periods of time super like hailed as very important in a culture, in a society, and then at different times, you know, not so much. And so this has really given us a chance to take stock of our values. Like, we got a lot of time on our hands. We're missing out on a lot of things, and I think it really puts into perspective the things that we really enjoy, and we're missing doing those things, and the things that we're not doing that we're so grateful that we're not there. That's, you know, just the transit. Maybe you're able to work from home and you're like, oh my God, I'm not spending hours and hours in traffic every day. And you're realizing how much of an effect that's having on you. Yeah, it's just a very unique opportunity that we've been given to do this all at the same time. So the fact that it's happening globally at the same time, I think also really gives us an opportunity to really tap into that global awareness and to really feel on a real level, on a scale that might not otherwise be available to us, that we are in fact a global community. We are a species. We are not, you know, black or white or gay or straight or American or Chinese or all the different subcategories of human that we really identify with. So it can be a little bit overwhelming to kind of conceptualize every human being in this world. So when we're you know, moving towards that oneness consciousness, and we want to kind of explore that, we want to lean into that. We've mostly been taught to be very self-focused, and so the more, you know, your awareness is able to include more and more people, that's kind of a natural evolution. But to get to a place where you can include everyone, where you can really feel that sense of we are all of us in this together, even though many of us are having seemingly very drastically different experiences. If we get a virus, we go down the same way. So there's something very, very humbling and unifying about that. And I think that, yeah, most scary things, most jarring things, most things that really force you into a shift, are blessings in disguise. And so that's the blessing coming through for me. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in, as it were, and checking out the channel and supporting. And I hope that there was something helpful for you in that video. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and views in the comments, or you can always email me. Thanks for joining in, guys. Thanks for liking, subscribing, supporting, because I really, really, really appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow for the Super Soul Sunday sessions. I'm really excited. Bye.